This rollout was performed Friday morning, around 36 hours ago. The launch vehicle is sitting on its launch table and is towed by a truck from the final assembly building where the ATV was mated on the launch vehicle up to the launch pad some 4 kilometers away.
Takes about an hour to roll out there because the trucks, special trucks, roll out very slowly.
A very special truck indeed, capable of towing the equivalent of almost 3 Airbus A380 at full charge, but very low speed.
Can you give us a very quick explanation of the green status panels where everything is smooth?
So this, yes, this panel, the status of the different systems which are all involved in the synchronized sequence, and for which they have to be ready at the same time, at the same moment, to allow the launch.
And these include the launch base, the launcher, the satellites, in this case the ATV, Jules Verne. Basically all the systems across this very big space base, Europe's spaceport. All these systems summarized by the green status panels coming into Jupiter here, which is why we call Jupiter the nerve center of the whole thing. The DDO, Thierry Vallée, again, you'll hear him call out the 1 minute mark in just a moment, and we'll be into the final 60 seconds.
À tous de DDO, attention pour moins 1 minute.
Are you going to go out and see the show?
I go and see the show.
Alex is going to step outside.
Top H0 moins 1 minute.
See you later. Alex is going out to the terrace. There are 2 terraces on either side of us here. The folks, the invited guests, are going out now. And he's going to watch the launch and come back, and he'll give us his impressions live. In the meantime, keep your eyes open for the final ignition sequence. You'll hear the DDO call out 3, 2, 1 ignition, and you'll see the main engine light up, and then count to 7, because during those 7 seconds, the computers that we've been talking about will be checking out pressure and temperature, and if they find everything all right, then they'll give the order to light the boosters. Those are the ones on the side there, and then we'll be off. So we'll let the DDO call out the final 10 seconds, and we'll let you enjoy the liftoff, and we'll be back with you after Ariane has cleared the tower.
À tous de DDO, attention pour le décompte final. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, top. Allumage Vulcain, allumage des EAP et décollage.
Night sky over Kourou here, always an impressive sight. 775 tons lifting off. The DDO is saying that everything is okay on board. Alex has just come rushing in. You look very pleased of what you've seen. How was it out there?
That was absolutely terrific. It was a marvelous show. The light and sound were absolutely impressive.
What impressed you most?
I think the sound, but it comes a little bit later, but the sound is really impressive.
That's not the first time you've seen a launch.
No, it's not the first time, but each time it's a little bit like the first time.
All right, sounds exciting. I'll go out next time.
So we are now in flight. So from now on, we shall leave the green panel and follow the launcher's health status on this little graphic that you can see
on the upper left
on the screen.
Now, what is that? That's the real trajectory and the optimum.
Yes, well, the curve represents a computed simulation of the whole trajectory. And the white spot on the curve represents the actual position of the launcher, which permanently sends a telemetry signal to the radars of the ground stations.
And on the bottom left, A and V on the bottom is altitude and...
Other indication of the velocity and altitude are real-time data. And also the angle between the launcher's antenna and the ground stations.
All right, we are into the first powered flight phase, which is the 2 boosters and the main engine. And you saw the lights before we lost Ariane to the cloud cover. The boosters will be burning for another 20 seconds or so.
The Vulcan engine will operate for about 8 minutes before it's shut down. And at this point, at an altitude of around 145 kilometers, the main stage will separate and follow a side ballistic trajectory before re-entering the atmosphere and fall down into the ocean.
Séparation des étages d'accélération à poudre.
There is the separation of the 2 solid boosters. This is what it looks like up there. The camera's not on board tonight. This was a camera shots from a flight last year, but you can see one of the boosters, both of them, one on the other side, dropping into the ocean, and then what happened?
Yeah, they are approximately 450 kilometers off the launch site of the coast of Kourou.
We're now into the second flight phase, the EPC, or the core stage. The core cryogenic stage is burning alone. It'll burn, as Alex said, for just under 10 minutes, pushing air again across the Atlantic.
Well, a short time before the fairing separation.
Fairing separation will be next up. You'll hear the DDO call out that milestone. And the separation of the booster and the fairing, all done by more or less the same systems, am I right, as pyrotechnic cords?
Absolutely, all the same systems, like the ones we used on Ariane 4.
Largage de la coiffe.
There the DDO has called out the separation of the fairing, and you'll get a shot of that.
We're on time.
Coming
And
up.
now
There's just one half of, actually there's two halves that are blown away into the fairing, and they also fall into the Atlantic. How much weight have we lost there?
we've lost about 2.5 tons, and the launcher has now lost approximately 70% of its total weight.
Remember, 775 tons at liftoff, and then we lose all the fuel in the boosters, and the fuel rapidly being burnt up in the core stage. You saw the launch site manager, Mr. Sicard, a moment ago. You can hear from him now on the launcher campaign. Take a look. The launch campaign for this flight, Flight 181, began at the end of last year and lasted throughout January. First, we integrated the two solid boosters and the main cryogenic stage. On this version, these stages are identical to those on an Ariane 5 ECA. In other words, with a Vulcan 2 engine on the cryogenic stage. The storable propellant upper stage was then mated, and it is on this stage and on the vehicle equipment bay that there are a number of specific adaptations. The vehicle equipment bay structure has been reinforced to cope with the mass of the ATV. Following integration, the launcher was transferred to the final assembly building. 2 days later, we began the combined operations plan for the two-phase ATV to launcher mating. The first phase concerned what we call the SDC, which is the launcher interface cylinder. And during the second phase, the ATV was integrated onto the mechanical interface.
Tous les soirs à 17h, nous avons une réunion d'avancement concernant les différentes opérations qui ont été effectuées durant cette journée. L'ensemble de l'équipe opérationnelle se réunit.
We hold status meetings at 5 p.m. every evening here in this room, where the entire team reviews the different operations that have been carried out that day and those scheduled for the next day.
Après différents contrôles,
Following a number of checks, the fairing was integrated onto the ATV.
sur la TV.
Upon completion of the final preparations, we hold what we call the Launch Readiness Review. This is an important meeting at which authorization is given for the launcher to be rolled out to the launch zone. The different industries, the design authority, the technical authority, and the operational teams all attend this meeting, together with the Ariane Technical Committee. It is this Ariane Technical Committee that gives the green light for the launch vehicle to be rolled out to the launch zone.
Nous pouvons transférer le lanceur en zone de lancement.
On the launcher side, everything's fine. We have a good altitude and good velocity.
2 minutes left in the core stage, the EPC burn extinction of the lower stage, due to come at about 8 minutes, exactly 8 minutes and 55 seconds. We're going to hear now from Philippe Roland. You can see him in the blue shirt there, the Ariane Space Mission Director on the ATV campaign.
Le satellite ATV est arrivé
The
en
ATV
Guyane
spacecraft arrived in French Guiana in late July on board the Ariane spaceship.